The Big WECK presents Buffalo on the Rise, sponsored by Dr. Kaplansky Dental Implants. Get new permanent teeth in 24 hours with our exclusive Teeth Now process. Welcome to the television show devoted to local business, Buffalo on the Rise, with your host, Joe Chili. There's an entrepreneurial spirit in Western New York that's putting our area on the cusp of greatness. Each week, Buffalo on the Rise features local business leaders and decision makers who are shaping our future. If it's about local business, we'll talk about it right here, right now, during Buffalo on the Rise.
I'm Joe Chili. On this edition of the Big WECK's Buffalo on the Rise, I'll introduce you to some interesting people from hometown businesses with important advice from our special guests. Like Doctor Ronald GeFaller, who shows us a gentle and efficient treatment for pain with his SoftWave therapy device. How your money can make money this summer with the services of Western Division Federal Credit Union. And if your air conditioning needs a tune-up or you want to get ready for fall, find out why you need to get Reimer on the horn. All on this edition of the Big WECK's Buffalo on the Rise. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Joe Chili, mornings on Buffalo's oldie station, the Big WECK. Joining us today on Buffalo on the Rise is Dr. Ronald GeFaller from SoftWave Buffalo. Doc, how are you doing?
Very good, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here again.
Good to see you. You're looking very dapper today.
I decided to up my game because you're always looking so good. I decided I have to look better myself.
Well, I got to tell you, you want the tie. I can't go the tie. It's a little bit much for me. You know, let's talk about SoftWave Buffalo. I don't know that people necessarily totally understand what it is. What is it that you do?
Well, SoftWave therapy is it's a new thing, but actually it's an old thing. It's an offshoot of the type of therapy they use to go ahead and break up kidney stones.
Okay.
It's been around for about 50 years. The equipment I have has been over in Europe for about 30 years. It's been FDA approved over here in the United States for the last 10 years. Okay, so it's something that's new into the area, but not really that new. It's you're using sound waves to create changes in your body. You're actually forcing your body to reduce inflammation, greatly improve circulation, and stimulate stem cells to go ahead and create a healing process. So you're actually forcing your body to heal up things that it doesn't want to heal up or hasn't been, like a chronic bursitis, tendonitis, arthritis, things like that. Or you can take a fresh injury that's all swollen up and creating a lot of problems and make it heal up a lot better and faster.
Is it something that you have to do a disclaimer for? Do you have to say, oh, maybe these are the side effects that you can have? Is there pain involved with it?
Well, there's side effects, according to the FDA, are negligible. The worst you're ever going to have is a little bit of redness in the skin or maybe some temporary achiness. Okay, the painful part is actually a good thing for what we need. We use it as a diagnostic tool to go ahead and see where the inflammation actually is. So I can actually find the actual root of your problem precisely and not just guess at what's going on. All right, when the sound waves hit something that's inflamed, you get a soreness effect. Okay, so I can go ahead and look around through that whole area and really pick and choose surgically the areas that are sore and tender, and those are the areas that we want to go ahead and work on and make better again.
You bring up a good thing, as you mentioned, surgery there. Okay, I've heard from people that go and have surgery done, and they'll say afterwards, okay, the surgery went great, everything's great, and the person says, yeah, but I still have pain.
I see that all the time. I see it especially with shoulders, knees, and hips. They have the replacement done or they have the rotator cuff fixed, but they still have consistent problems. Their doc will say that it's, the surgery went well, like you said, and everything's in place, the replacement's in place, everything's intact, everything's stable, but it still hurts. Okay, and that's the pain isn't at that point isn't from the joint that's been fixed. It's from the soft tissues. It's from the muscles, the ligaments, the tendons, all those things that changed and got bad while your joint got bad. Okay, if I have this joint that's degenerating for, let's say, 10, 15, 20 years, all those muscles and ligaments change around that again. So they all become tight and fibrous and all glued together, and you develop knots in the musculature, those hard knots that you get sometimes that are real sore and painful. Things tighten up and you start changing how the joints and the muscles are able to move when the joints moves differently. So all that stuff that that's there, all that soft tissue change is still there even after the surgery. You know, I have patients that go through, of course, the PT and you know, PT before joint replacement, PT afterwards is wonderful. It works out really, really well for most people. But the cases I get to see are the ones where it doesn't, okay? And where they still have, you know, it's better, you know, most of my patients say, yeah, it's 1,000 times better than it was before I had the surgery, but it still hurts. It's still bothered by the weather. It's still a problem getting up and down stairs, you know, and that's the stuff I can treat.
Okay, well, let me ask you this, and I don't want to offend you by this,
no.
but are you a last resort?
For some people I am. It seems to be either way, because, you know, sometimes the doctors are just saying, well, there's nothing else we can go ahead and do, or the physical therapy is saying that you've reached the end of our plan and we can't make things any more different than what they are. So in a lot of cases I am. Or, you know, I've had patients that are going back for resurgeries again. The worst case I've seen so far is a nice lady in her 40s. She's had 3 knee replacements in 2 years of the same knee.
Wow.
Okay, because it didn't work. She had constant pain, discomfort. They put in the new knee and a new knee, and she still had problems with it, and they wanted to put knee number 4 in, and she finally said, that's it, no more.
Yeah, I guess not. Okay, aside from that, we just have a couple of minutes left.
Sure.
Can it help people that, not necessarily with surgery, but that have chronic pain or arthritis?
Sure. It's very, very effective with chronic pain and arthritis. So what we can go ahead and do, the sound waves actually penetrate not only into the joint, but actually into the bone tissue itself. It'll go right through it again. It'll knock down the inflammation inside the bone and also the inflammation inside the joint. Okay, so you can go ahead and directly calm down the arthritis. And if you can calm down the inflammation and the arthritis, you can calm down the wear and tear. Okay, so you can go ahead and get off the pain pills, get off the cortisone shots, you get off, you know, you can go ahead and start walking around and be able to walk more distance, walk up and down stairs much more comfortably. You can't undo the arthritis, but you can get rid of a significant amount of pain out of the arthritis, if not all of it.
What about something like people have foot pain, plantar fasciitis, things like that?
I work with that all the time. Plantar fasciitis, it's fibrous tissue buildup and tightness in the fascial tissue underneath the foot. What we're doing here is helping your body to go ahead and reorganize that tissue, soften it up, let it be able to go ahead and stretch and knock down that inflammation that's really causing the pain again. It works on any type of inflammatory process, and that's the nice thing about it. It's kind of a jack of all trades tool. Okay, anything that needs more circulation, like neuropathy, anything that has inflammation, you can knock down the inflammation again. Anything that needs to go ahead and have stem cells and healing effect on it, you can have an effect on that too.
Yep, and it's non-surgical.
Non-surgical, no after effects. It's the safest thing you can go ahead and do.
Dr. Ronald GeFaller, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Pleasure.
For more information and answers to your questions, contact Dr. Ronald GeFaller at SoftWave Buffalo, 3959 North Buffalo Street, number 16 in Orchard Park, and 8643 Sheridan Drive, Williamsville. The phone number 716-667-6800, and the website is softwavebuffalo.com. Sponsorship and promotional consideration for the preceding segment was provided by SoftWave Buffalo. And don't forget to join all your favorite personalities, JP, Roger, Christian, Bobby O, Glenn T, and me on Buffalo's oldie station, the Big WECK. I'm Joe Shelley, mornings on Buffalo's oldie station, the Big WECK. Joining us today on Buffalo on the Rise, Denise Ligamari from Western Division Federal Credit Union. You're looking bright and chipper today.
Well, thank you.
Let's talk about, again, for people that have not seen you before or joined us with regard to credit unions, what makes them different from banks? I think that's the thing that people just don't understand.
Well, you know what? There's always the staples. It's like banks are for-profit, credit unions are not for-profit. And, you know, like 20 years ago, there was a huge difference between us. Usually banks, it was like the big banks with higher interest rates, and credit unions were your smaller local community, like one core sponsor, like maybe your church or your neighborhood or your employer group. But now that whole landscape has changed, where banks and credit unions, basically a lot of them, we are all of the same size, we offer the same products and services, but the interest rates are a little bit different because obviously being for-profit, at banks they return their profits back to their stock shareholders. At credit unions, we return it back to every single person that uses us as a not-for-profit cooperative. So that usually means lower balances, lower fees, higher interest rates on savings, and lower interest rates on loans. So when you're looking at product service-wise, we're very similar.
Can you get just about anything you get at a bank at a credit union?
You sure can. Nowadays you can. Back in, there was about 1994, the federal government kind of opened up credit unions to expand outside their core sponsor. Like ours was National Grid. We were able to sponsor outside of that because as National Grid downsized, they didn't want the credit union to go under as a financial institution. So they said, you can go out and start bringing other employer groups on. And that's how credit unions started getting community charters or multi-charters, where we could now start servicing anybody, where before it was just the one main group.
You know, this is going to date me. As I was growing up, I remember, you know, I worked for radio stations. I didn't have a credit union. The people that had credit unions were, you know, Harrison Radiator,
Right.
you know, GMC, you know, things like this,
It
right?
was a large company.
Yeah, and they'd say, you know, go to the credit union, I can get a better deal. I go, no, I wish we had a credit
Wish
union.
we had a
Yeah,
credit
right?
union.
So are you defined by locale? I mean, can people from both Erie, Niagara County, Genesee, whatever they might, can they all join a credit union, your credit union, or no?
Each credit union is specific. Some of them are still single sponsor, where they just service their employer group. Others have gone for a community charter, like Western Division. We went for a community charter back in 2000, and it was the fact of now we can service anybody in Erie, Chautauqua, in the Western New York area. Some people go by zip code. It's like just Amherst can go to Amherst Federal Credit Union, or in things like that. So each credit union is a little bit different. So
What kind of what do you get from people? I mean, you know, if you say somebody comes in to meet with you and they go, I'm from such and such, and you go, oh, I'm sorry, we can't deal with you.
sometimes we have to. Sometimes we'll take an application and we'll ask them, how did you hear about us, or how are you eligible to join? And if they don't fit, we have about 400 employer groups within the 8 counties of Western New York. So it's fairly easy for us to get that done. But at other credit unions, it could be the fact of, I'm sorry, you're not eligible for membership with us, and we have to turn the product or service away.
What do you think it is that people appreciate most of working with a credit union?
Going back to that core sponsor days, it was one of those things where, like, if you worked at National Grid, it's like when you started your first day in the Human Resources Department, they're like, this is our credit union, this is where you're going to save, this is where you're going to borrow at better rates than you can get anyplace else. When we started going community and things like that, we almost became like, remember back in the day, the community banks, you really
Yeah.
don't see them around so much anymore. Well, credit unions have now become that community bank. So I see like the landscape of financial services, the big banks, and then your credit unions, which are your community credit unions. I think it's almost a comfort there when people want to work with their community bank, because all of the employees, we live, work, worship, attend school, our kids, everybody in the community that we service. So obviously we want to give good service, but we also want to take on the loans and the savings to help the financial institution stay strong within the community.
All right, most often when I talk to folks and they go to a credit union, they're usually going for a car loan. They say, I can get a really good deal, I can get a better interest rate or whatever. What about the other things that you think of banks for, like houses, if you're going to buy a house, or you got someone going to college, you know, college loan, things like that? Do you get involved in those things as well?
That goes back to when we were talking about the difference between banks and credit unions, when I say the products and services are very much alike now. Like at Western Division, we offer everything across the board, from your mortgages to your savings to your CDs and your checking, your mobile app. We have 750 no surcharge ATMs in Western New York, all the way down to investments, mutual funds, and estate planning.
So if I'm have money with Western Division Federal Credit Union, do I have a credit card?
Oh, sure you do.
Yeah?
A credit card or a debit
Debit
card
card?
to access your accounts, just like any other financial institution.
So you put money in, it's not, you know, you don't have to leave it in for a specific amount of time or anything like that?
No, your money is your money.
Sometimes you think, you know, if you're getting the better credit rate, oh, I've got to put it in here, but I
gotta
can't
put
touch
so
it,
much in.
right?
Like our membership, there is one thing with our membership with our credit union. To become a shareholder or a member with the credit union, you have to buy one stock share of the credit union. And with us, that's a $5 deposit to a savings account. So it's a big fee.
Yeah, I can, I think being in broadcasting,
You
I
can
can
handle it.
float that.
You
yeah.
want that auto loan? You
Yeah,
need to give me $5.
I think I can float that. All right, so what's the first thing that somebody should do now? You know, if people want to get a hold of you, got about a minute left, call to action.
Honestly, we made our credit union very accessible even before COVID started. So you don't see Western Division with a huge branch network of 15 branches around Western New York because we don't want to spend our profits that way on the brick and mortar. What we did 15 years ago is we made everything accessible. So the ATM network, we do everything by phone or online. So I always tell everybody, if there's anything you have to do banking, because no one likes to leave their house and run around and do errands and have to go to the bank that day or go get money. I said, pick up the phone and call us. We will have a way that you can do it without ever stepping foot into our branch.
All right, Denise Lingamari, thank you very much. For more information, call Western Division Federal Credit Union at 716-500-LOAN or get information online at westerndivision.org. Sponsorship and promotional consideration for the preceding segment was provided by Western Division Federal Credit Union. And don't forget to join all your favorite personalities, JP, Roger Christian, Bobby O, Glenn T, and me on Buffalo's oldie station, Big WECK. I'm Joe Chile, mornings on Buffalo's oldie station, the Big WECK. Today on Buffalo on the Rise, we're talking to the general manager of Reimer here in Buffalo, Nathan Pataco. How are you doing?
Good, Joe.
Good. Reimer, of course, Home Services. Get Reimer on the horn. I've got a comment to you guys. You know, it's the greatest thing, the way that you have your trucks done. First off, they're roaming billboards. I mean, and I see them everywhere.
Yeah. The orange is hard to miss.
It is hard to miss. And you know, the other thing is the fact that you don't have to tell me, but either you're doing business all over the place or you send people out and say, drive through this area today because, no, I'm just kidding you. But, you know, it's great to see and it's comforting to see too.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you guys have a great history. As a matter of fact, tell us a little bit about the history of Reimer in Western New York.
So Reimer's been serving the Western New York community since 1921. Over the past 100 years, we've been serving the community with for HVAC services. About 10, 15 years ago, we got into plumbing. So we service all plumbing and drains. And about 2 or 3 years ago, we got into electric. And we can service anything in your home when it comes to electric, generators as well. So we provide the whole package with Reimer.
Now, what do you say? You get a lot of people that are calling up, obviously, to make appointments with you guys. But do the emergency calls, you know, drive you crazy? You still have a full head of hair, so I guess it's not, you're not pulling your hair out yet.
We are in the business of emergency services. You know, when COVID happened, we still operated. We were essential employees on the road, and you know, we showed up when the community needed us. So we will run emergency services. We don't charge an extra fee to come out after hours or on the weekends.
You know, I kind of thought of you guys knowing that we were going to have an interview the other day. I live in Niagara County. I live in Lewiston. And a few nights ago, we had a heavy rainstorm. You know, maybe it was longer than that. 4.5 inches of rain. And one of my neighbors, not in the townhouse that I'm living in, one of my neighbors came up and he goes, "Did you get any water in your basement?" I go, "No, I'm pretty good." He goes, "I have 4 inches of water in my basement." And the interesting thing he said, he goes, "I walked down the stairs and I was about to say, hey, the heck with it, I'm just going to go in and see what's going on." He says, "But then I thought, do I have any outlets that might be, or, you know, strips that might be underwater?"
Yeah.
And you're thinking that hopefully, you know, if it was a ground fault type thing or whatever, that would trip the breaker.
Correct,
but if you step into it and it doesn't, you got to call Reimer right away.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah. We were out there. We were in Lewiston when all that rain came down, and it's unfortunate when the main sewer and you know, all that rainwater comes down. It taxes a lot of those sewers up in Lewiston, and unfortunately, there was a lot of sewer backups and a lot of flooded basements. Plumbers came out, but we were able to suck up all the water from out of the basements. And it's good to get not only plumbers there, but electricians, like you were saying, and HVAC guys, just to make sure that the water didn't damage your electric panel or any outlets in the basement, as well as your furnace.
What about generators and things like that? You guys handle those too, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen any kind of an influx in that, or is that something that just happens in the winter when people, you know, start saying, "I need a generator"?
Generator calls and services for generators come at all times. You know, especially in the wintertime, people don't like you losing power. You know, during Christmas parties, but even when we have heavy rainstorms and, you know, trees fall on power lines, you know, you can lose your power at any time. So generators are something that, you know, it provides peace of mind.
Air conditioning. Do you get calls just for central air, or if people called you if they've got window units and things like that they have problems with?
Yeah, people will call us if they have problems with window units. We can provide recommendations for them, but we don't really service the window units. If people are in an extreme circumstance and their AC unit goes down, and the only way to provide them with temporary cool is with a window unit. We want to get them cool and comfortable as quickly as possible, but also provide either replacement or repair options for their existing AC.
Calls that you get, same day service, next day service. Do you have to book them a week out? What's the story?
No extra charge, and we have, like you were saying, we have a lot of vehicles. We're growing at a pretty good rate. We have a lot of trucks on the road right now, and we are able to provide same day, next day service. Our technicians we train twice a week, soft skills, technical skills. We like to stay ahead of the industry standards.
Nobody's gonna want to talk about winter already, right? But when do you recommend people should start having their furnaces looked at?
Yeah, I would say probably in the near future. September, Buffalo, we get snow starting the end of September into October. So it's good to start getting your furnace checked to make sure that it's gonna operate as it should throughout the winter.
What do you think sets Reimer apart from the competition?
Oh man, I can't speak bad about our competition.
No, that's okay.
But with Reimer, I love Reimer. We have a great culture, not just with how we show up to customers' homes, providing a 5-star service, but also how we show up to the community. We are involved with the Making Strides events against breast cancer, Ride for Roswell, the Buffalo Zoo, the Buffalo Marathon. Myself and the employees, we love showing up for the moments that matter for the community.
Well, it's good to know. So if somebody's watching right now and they feel that they need service, or something just doesn't sound right, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Air conditioning comes on, it's banging, whatever the case may be. No call is too little, or no call is excused as being ridiculous or whatever.
No, absolutely not. And I would recommend just getting a tech out there just to make sure everything is running up to speed. Gauges are set properly, fan speeds are set properly. It's good to just get it checked out, because if that is a case where your machine is operating improperly, it could fail quicker than you would intentionally want it to be.
It's funny because when I was bike riding the other day, I saw a squirrel laying on top of an air conditioner, the outside unit. Must have been blowing out, tail straight up, looking like he's having a grand old time, you know what I mean? So
staying cool.
Yeah, that was great. All right, so thank you very much, Nathan Vitaco, who is the general manager of Reimer. Remember, if you need help at your home, call Reimer. Get Reimer on the horn. Reimer Home Services is located at 2575 Broadway in Buffalo. You can call them at 716-217-2217 and connect online at callreimer.com. Sponsorship and promotional consideration for the preceding segment was provided by Reimer Home Services. And don't forget to join all your favorite personalities, JP, Roger Christian, Bobby O, Glenn T, and me on Buffalo's oldie station, The Big WECK.
Thanks for watching this edition of The Big WECK presents Buffalo on the Rise. For information on this and other shows, go to our website, bigweck.com, and find out how you can participate on the program if you're a hometown business. I'm Joe Chili. Thanks for watching and listening to The Big WECK, Buffalo's oldie station.
The Big WECK presents Buffalo on the Rise was sponsored by Dr. Kaplansky Dental Implants. Get new permanent teeth in 24 hours with our exclusive Teeth Now process.